everybody? What's up, everybody? Let's talk about it. It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. What up, everybody? This is April Dawn. Let's talk about it. This is Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 1. All right, you guys, so this show has a lot of source material that I purposely did not dig into because I wanted to come into the show as a new watcher, someone who is not familiar with the source material and who is just coming to this as a new viewer. I want to get an in-depth analysis of the show in comparison to the book and different elements that's going on. You might want to go to Pear Waite's channel. I really love her channel. It's really awesome. Go over there and check her out. She's doing like a live after show about this show. So the show is called Lovecraft Country. It comes on HBO on Sunday nights. It's like everything comes on Sunday nights, right? It's about this man he's returned home from the service, and because his father has written him a letter, and he's going on a journey to find his father and him and his childhood friend and his uncle. Okay, now Courtney B. Vance plays his uncle. That is Angela Bassett's husband, if you guys don't know who Courtney B. Vance is. Aunjanue Ellis, she was just in the Clark Sisters movie. She plays his wife, or their auntie. Letty, okay, Letty is played by Journey Smollett, and I'm not sure who the main character is. He's an up-and-coming actor, okay, so we'll give him that. So we're going to learn these names, okay, so we got Uncle George, we got Letty, we have Tick. I think his name is Atticus, if I'm not mistaken, okay? And then we have, I'm not sure what the mother's name is yet, okay? So we got a lot of different things going on in this story. It's science fiction, it's horror, it's, you know, like civil rights type. It's during the civil rights time, so you got a little Jim Crow thrown in there, just a little, you know, lynching, you know what I'm saying? Just for good measure. And this show is produced by Jordan Peele and created by Jordan Peele and Misha Green, if I'm not mistaken. So if I am, just correct me in the comments. Basically, H.P. Lovecraft is an author who was a very racist person in real life, but he wrote a lot of weird fiction novels, you know, kind of science fiction, weird type stories. And he grew like he started with the horror fiction or whatever. He kind of is like he's like a staple in the horror community. We'll put it like that. So he's one of like the founding fathers, if you know, arguably, I guess. The story is basically this boy, this young man, Atticus, he's coming home from the army. So at the beginning of the episode, we start off with him. He's having a dream about fighting a war, and then you see aliens. It's black and white, which I thought was pretty cool. And then it goes to color, and it's like aliens and stuff, and they're fighting aliens. So he's like, what the hell is going on? And then he sees the alien that's descending from a ship, and it's a woman, and she like whispers something in his ear, and Jackie Robinson like hit the alien with the hammer, like it was not the hammer, the bat. It was just a lot going on, okay? So he was dreaming. We see that he was dreaming. He wakes up and he's on a bus, and he's coming from wherever he lives to Chicago, which is where he's from. This woman comments that they're just going across another bridge with another dead white man name on it, good riddance. So, you know, back in the day, long time ago, there was this thing called the flight. I think that happened a little bit before this time period. But a lot of people from the South moved up north, so you can tell she's trying to get out of that Jim Crow South. She don't want to have nothing to do with it. So the bus breaks down, and we see that Atticus is an avid book reader. I forgot what book he was reading, but he has a book in his hand, and we see a truck that drives up. And clearly, once they start packing the luggage up, you can see that this truck driver is not going to offer them a ride nowhere, baby. So he goes and gets the luggage for the other young lady that he was speaking to, and they begin to walk. So they have a little chit chat, and she asks him about his book, and he says it's a captain and it's a warlord, and she says the captain was a Confederate soldier, and she was like, oh no, you can't put X behind that, you know, you fought for slavery, you know, that's not a good story. And he was like, well, stories are like people. Basically, you deal with the story with the flaws and all, you know, the character gets to go on an adventure, they get to do all these crazy things and save the day, and a boy like him from the south side of Chicago doesn't get to do those kinds of things or whatever. So he says he's back because of his father, and his father has been missing for 2 weeks. We see in Chicago, George Freeman, this is Uncle George, he is with his wife, and they're in the bed. They trying to get their little freak on in the morning or whatever before they get started with the day. His wife is played by Aunjanue Ellis, and he tells us he misses her, and they talk about him being on the road, and she wants to go out on the road, and he's telling her that it's dangerous, you know, for her to go out there, because it is during that time period. She tells him she needs to get up. There's a party at noon. She got to get ready to make some pecan pies, and he like trying to get her little, you know, he trying to get his little thing on, honey. So he started playing with it. You know what I'm saying? When the last time We had time to make love in the daytime, honey. So they going to get to getting it. I'm like, okay. And so we can see pictures all over the place. You know, we can see that Emmett is there. I mean, not Emmett. We can see that Atticus is their nephew, and they have pictures all over the wall of different things, and we see their daughter. Her name is Dee. She's sketching pictures, so we see that she's an artist. She's a very creative person. I really like her character. And she started to hear her parents doing the do. She's like, oh my God, this is gross. So she goes into her room, and when she gets to the window, she sees none other than her cousin. He comes in, and everybody's happy that he's home. You know, and they all give him a hug and everything. It's real cute. And we see him passing by or going to the mechanic shop. So he's in a mechanic shop, but there's also a lot of books in there. So it kind of looked like a bookstore when he walked in there at first. And so they're kind of looking at the books, and so they start going back and forth about books. So apparently in this family, education is very important, even to his father. His father also, you know, believed that education was important, and his father did not like H.P. Lovecraft because, like I told y'all, in actual real life, he was a rabid racist, right? So he made him read a book called like The Creation of the something like that. It was like a lot. Okay, so The Creation of the Negro, whenever he caught him reading the book, and he didn't want him reading the books or whatever. He tells him, Atticus tells his uncle that his father wrote him about his mom. So he says that he found some people on her side of the family, and he wanted him to come to this certain place because he had this secret birthright or something. And he was like, Uncle George is like, well, he was still obsessed with your mom. I thought he had let all of that go after she passed away. And so he said that he tells him about this legacy, a secret legacy. It's a birthright that's been hidden, and he has to find out about it in Lovecraft country. So Lovecraft country is basically like the Midwest, where a lot of these novels that this man H.P. Lovecraft wrote were based out in, okay? And so he looks at the letter, he shows it to him, he says, no, that's Arkin. He says, no, that's Arden. So Uncle George says he's going to look it up and, you know, get back to him or whatever. He's going to look into it. And so then we hear the hip-hop music. Now, I know some people don't like this, you know, transition when they have the new music with the old period pieces, but I like it only because sometimes it's hard to get the energy of what you're trying to feel in the scene when you play that. You know, if you start playing ragtime music, you're gonna be like, okay, like it's not hype until you play the music that we understand, that feeling that it conveys in the scene. So I like that. I get hype. I liked it when they did it in the Underground. Who shout out to who was watching me when I did Underground? Okay, man, I missed that show, man. So when they did that in Underground, I thought it was a great device. It doesn't take me out of the moment. I really appreciate that. So they dropped the music. He passes by. It's the block party going on that night. So they got kids that's playing out in the fountain. And, you know, he play out in the fountain just a little bit. He looking kind of fine. I'm not going to lie. He looked real good in his outfit. His muscles was popping, okay? So he sees the army recruiter trying to run that game on the little kids out there. He goes into this bar. He's looking for his father. And he sees this guy. His name is Tree, or something like that, and he remembers him. He like, man, that's you. You was little, you know, with your glasses on. So apparently he was a nerdy little kid. He wore glasses, bookworm type of guy, you know, and now he's a grown man now, okay? He's a grown man, honey. So he said he looking for Sammy, and he said, Sammy out in the back. So he go out in the back, and Sammy out there getting some head. Sammy is out there getting some knowledge from a young man. The young man jumps up and runs away, okay? And he like, my bad. And he like, hey, you such and such son, you, I forgot his dad's name. It starts with the It's like Montrose, or something like that. Are you his son? He says, yeah, he hasn't been sitting in my bar for about 2 weeks now. And he's like, okay, well, where did he go? Well, he left with this white man. About 2 weeks ago, they left in a silver sedan. It looked like it was too expensive for him to be just a police officer, basically. So we see at the block party, Letty arrives. She looking cute. She hopping out the car, and her sister, her name is Ruby. She's up there singing. She's performing. We don't realize they're sisters, but I did see them give each other the look like, I know you, you know me. And so, you know, the crowd notices that she's there, and they're like, come up and sing, you know. So she gets up there, and she start rocking the crowd with her sister and singing a song. And we see that Tick, what's his name? Not Tick. Yeah, Tick. He comes out there. He passes by, but he goes inside. And we see, you know, Letty, like I said, she's rocking the crowd. So Tick is out there having fun with his family in the fountain. He's playing. Everybody's having a good time. So that was a light moment during the episode. After they're done, Letty and the sister go back and forth. Letty needs somewhere to stay for a while. Basically, Letty seems like the irresponsible sister, but we find out later on she's really like a protester. You know, she be protesting for the civil rights movement, probably a freedom rider. But, you know, she kind of leave her family hanging sometimes. So she asks to stay with her sister, but her sister says, you can stay with me 2 nights and you got to get a job, girl. That's it, girl. You got to get up out of here. And she's like, well, we can come and we can go together. She's like, girl, ain't nobody trying to do all that. Okay, nobody trying to live high on the hog. Mama's funeral took a lot of money out of us. And she's like, you gonna throw that in my face? And she was like, it is what it is. I'm just trying to tell you what it is. You can only stay for 2 nights, girl. You got to get the hell up out, okay? You see that Tick is talking to his Uncle George. And basically he tells him that, you know, talking about the guide and how basically he got his knee shattered. And he's trying to keep his wife from going on with him because it's dangerous for her to go. You know, she wants to go. But, you know, just imagine if they had caught her instead of caught him out there that night. And so this is the reason why. So we know that his uncle is the publisher of the Green Book or the Safe Guide, the Negroes Travel or Safe Guide Travel or whatever that they published a long time ago. So they have guide stops where towns where they tell you don't stop, places where you can go. So he goes out on guide trips all the time. So that's what he's talking about. So he's saying, you know, I guess he got caught up one time and that's why he started to write the book or whatever. So they find out where this town is and it's around somewhere, but it's like nothing there or whatever. It's no type of, you know, guidepost or anything. It's out there in the middle of nowhere. Dunn County, Massachusetts, I think. He said, well, I'm going to need a car. And he's like, well, I'm going to go with you. And so they, you know, they making this plan to go on this trip together, child. So then he says, look at what you're saying, where it is on the map. And you see like a lantern with like a skull or something like that. I think that means that like it's around some sundown towns. It's some place where you don't want to be if you're African American because you might get jacked up and be hanging from a tree, okay? Tick arrives at his dad's house. You can tell this is his father's house, and he sees his books and, you know, pictures, and he walks around the house and everything, and he finds a gun in the closet in like a shoebox. So he takes the gun out and he puts the books on a pillow and he calls the operator, okay? And he gets connected with South Korea, and this woman answers the phone and she says, you went home? And he said something to her and she was like, you shouldn't have went home. And she hangs up the phone and I'm like, who is that? Who is that lady? What is going on? Next day we see Letty. She's going with them on a trip apparently. And they talk to each other for a minute. So apparently they were like friends since they were little kids, and you know, the little science group together at school. He moved to Florida. He was in Florida, I guess, when he was in the service, and he asked her about it, and you know, she's been everywhere and she's done a little bit of everything. So she coming with them, and the wife come out there and they do a cute little checklist. It's very cute. They got everything ready and they wish him all the best and they get on the road. So we see them traveling, okay, and we see them stop at different places, and they get harassed, you know, call monkeys at different place and that place, and they listening to the radio. They having a really good time, and they're listening to James Baldwin. He's giving his debate on the I'm talking about the system reality and basically talking about the whole system of racism and how it hasn't really changed, okay, over the years. Basically, that's what he's talking about. And so they stop at this diner. He said they're going to stop at this diner called Lydia's, okay? So, you know, they stop and they getting ready to go to this place. He said it's a guide place that is on the map and they're looking for it. They want to get a review on the restaurant. They go and they make the next left in Simmonsville, okay? Then we see a dog barking on the street, and the white folks turn around like, y'all see that nigga on that horse? I said, child, it's not good, honey. It's not looking too good. It ain't looking too good, baby. So we see the white man looking, you know, they looking like, what the hell is going on? And so he said, okay, it's this red brick building up here, right here. And so she said, well, this building got a different name on it. This not the same building. He said, but you know, that's okay. We can go up in here. We at the right place. So they walk on in and they go up in there, and it's got a whole, you know, we ain't got no nigga pies type of vibe going on. You understand what I'm saying? The one man there, he was about to get some biscuits. He was about to get some biscuits and gravy. But as soon as he saw them, he got his shit and he left. And I was like, oh my God, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. So the white boy walk over to them. He's scared to death. He gives them the menu. He walks away. And Uncle is pissed. He like, we can eat here. We citizens. They like, man, maybe we should get in the car and we should just go on about our business. Like, we should get out of here. And he's like, no, we're citizens of the United States of America. And we can eat anywhere we want. I'm like, you don't do that. I don't know. Okay, so Letty is like, I'm going to go to the bathroom or whatever. I'm going to be right back. So when she get around the corner, she hear the waiter on the phone like, man, they up in here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't serve my promise to God. I didn't do nothing. After what y'all did to Miss Lydia. So Miss Lydia is the name of the restaurant, right? Lydia's. So you put together that you look on the ground and they talking about the White House and the slaves painting the White House white because they had burnt it down in the war in the battle of 1812, some shit. And girl, let me tell you, I was like, they done burnt Miss Lydia up, honey. Y'all better get up out of there. And I promise you, as soon as I thought that lady ran out the back, like, we got to get the whole ass. We got to get the fuck up out of here, okay? I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. They got up, baby. They ran out there, and Letty got in that car, and baby, she went to drive. And I said, you better drive, ho. Uncle George tried to call her, girl, you better do this. She said, my name is not girl. I am Letty effing Lewis. You better get it together, okay? I said, I know that's right. So, you know, Tick starts shooting back at them. He's shooting back at the people, and they having a whole car chasing us, another car going behind them. And then this other car comes out, and they swerve, and they get in front of that car. So that car's in the middle, and then, like, the other car in the back hit them, and the people crash. You know what I'm saying? And we see this woman get out of the car, and she has a red hat on, and she has like some red gloves on or something like that, or some red shoes. I don't know, child. She got out the car. She was a white woman, and honey, she got out there looking like sophisticated lady. She came out there looking like, I came to save you hoes, okay? Look like a rich white woman to the rescue, okay? I was like, come through. Come through, lady. They go to Letty's brother's house, and they recall the story. They laugh and it's funny now till your ass was almost got killed. Okay, so they laughing it up. They having a good time, and they figure out their next stop is Devon County. Okay, so they said it's a town, and it's named after the England witch trials. So basically, the witch hunters started this town, okay? So basically, they killed a woman because they said she slept with a demon. I don't know, child, and it was a black person. I don't know. Anywho, they look at the sheriff. The sheriff is like one of the most horrible sheriffs. He done, you know, got a lot of missing people that go through that town. The NAACP have a lot of complaints on the town. So they said he found some property records on the place that they're looking for that's out in the middle of nowhere. Basically, there's no guides. There's no places that's going to help them. So he said, go to the registry and you can find the roads, basically, that they had for the town at one time. And we see Uncle George, he's talking to his wife and his daughter on the phone, just kind of catching up with them. And he asked the wife, does she want to come out on his next trip with him? And she seems to be very happy about this and very excited about it. So he tells her he loves her. And the daughter, like she was reading the book to him, she colored like a little book or whatever of the travel book, and he put it in his wallet. I thought that was a nice tender moment. Letty, she's getting fussed at by her brother. They going off on each other, baby, hollering and screaming. Basically, he gave her some money and she was bailing her friends out of jail, and then he gave her that money to come home for her mama's funeral because her mama passed away, baby, and she didn't even come to the funeral. I said, oh my God. So Tick walks away because at some point he realizes that this ain't his business, so he's just gonna turn around and mind his business, and he starts to talk to his uncle, and he said it sound pretty bad or whatever. So he says, did Pops tell you what happened when I left? So basically a reporter wanted to come around to interview him. He said that his daddy was so mad that they ended up fighting each other, and he gave as good as he got, basically. And he said his daddy hated, you basically told him, I don't want you to be on the news trying to convince other people to fight for a country that hates him or whatever. So he said that when he left, he never wrote him anything until he needed him. And Uncle George tells him, listen, your daddy asked about you all the time. He would come to the house and just wait for me to bring you up so that he could ask about you. He would never bring you up. I had to bring you up. And even if he had to stay till midnight, he would wait till I brought you up. So I was like, oh. And so Tick was like, why are you defending him? And he said, well, he was younger than me. He was smaller than me. He took the brunt of it. And he said, so I'm protecting him. And he was like, well, You didn't protect me. You know, what about me, basically. Next morning, Letty is very upset. She gets in the car. She looked like she pissed off or whatever. So they trying to look for this bridge, like I said, for this town that they're trying to find. So they pull over and they going off into the woods. And child, next thing we know, here come the damn police, the one they was talking about. He pulls up in his car and he asks everybody to come to the back of the car. He questions them why they're out there, what are they doing, and he tells them this is a sundown county, not a sundown town, okay? He said, now if I catch you after here after sundown, you know, it would have been my duty, my right to hang you from a tree. He tells them you got 7 minutes before sundown and the county line is however many miles away or whatever, so they gotta head south. And he was like, you're not going to make it in 7 minutes if you head south. He was like, well, we're going to head north. And he was like, that sounds like a good idea. And then he asked, was a U-turn illegal? And he's like, oh, you think you smart? Oh, you think you smart or whatever. And he was like, I'm going to let you do it one time if you just talk to me real nice. Basically, he said, talk to me nice. And he was like, just say, you know, please let this N-word make a U-turn. So he was like, yes, I'm going to let you do it this time because you asked me nice. So they trying to make it to the state line, child. They are pushing it. When I tell you this is horror, bitch. Okay, so they trying to make it to the state line, baby. They turned around. They are driving, they trucking. And she like, go fast. He like, nah, we can't go no faster. And so they getting there. And they like, okay, we got 1 more mile left or 1 more kilometer. And they almost there. So he kind of push it. He sees the tracks and they barely make it out. Barely. So we breathing, and something told me when they was breathing, I was like, they shouldn't be breathing for long because something tells me this is not going to be good. So they passed the tracks, and child, here go the white people just waiting for them out there. I said, oh, Lord. So they take them to the woods, and they're about to, like, kill them. They're asking them all these questions. You did this, you know, just being regular, run-of-the-real racists. They about to kill them. So we see all of a sudden some creatures, bitch. They start sliding out there. It's like... Well, that sound like, that don't sound like no wolves, bitch. What is that? It's nothing. You snatch this one, he snatched that one. And so we see these creatures with these giant, like, things, you know, they're like these things, and it's just a lot. And everybody starts to run, and they leave Uncle George. I'm like, child, you done left this man with this shattered knees. Child, you can't be leaving Uncle George. Child, he can't even run fast, Jesus. So they run and they hide in this barn, and 2 of the sheriff deputies made the way, but the main one, you know, the evil one, he got bit. So I was like, something told me he was gonna turn into some you know, he was gonna turn into to a vampire, to a werewolf hole. I don't know what it was, but they figure out that the thing is scared of lights. Okay, so Uncle George does make it in there. Y'all done ran y'all ass all the way up here, then you got to go back out and get Uncle George. So the man got the gun, and he put it on Letty. He's like, you go out there and you get the flares and bring the truck back, because if I let him go, he think he's smart. Here you go again, where he think he's smart. So, you know, he might leave us. Why would he leave? Like, anyway. So she goes out there. She running full speed track, baby. I said, baby, run, bitch, run. So she make it. She put the lights on. You know what I'm saying? She scared the thing away. It goes away. Another one try to attack her, but you know what I'm saying? She get back to the place or whatever. But while they in there, the man turns into like the creature, right? And this is like another good moment where he says what we think they should say, which is, somebody needs to shoot him right now. I think you need to shoot him now, okay? So they end up, he don't even shoot him. He end up jumping on he turned into a creature or whatever. And so he jump on the other police and he shoot the other policeman up. It was a little gruesome this episode, I'm not gonna lie. And so then the black guy gets the gun, get the gun, and he go to shooting or whatever. So he shoot the thing up, and that's it. So the next day we see, and we did get a good look when Uncle George was in the woods at the thing. He got like a lot of eyes on it, and it was like, or a lot of, you know, things that looked like eyes or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it have a lot of tentacles is what I'm trying to say. It has a lot of tentacles. And so I was like, what the hell is going on? So anywho, the next morning, we see them walking beat up, you know, damn near dead, half dead, walking across the bridge that they were looking for, and they find this big mansion. And so they make it to the mansion, they walk to the door, and they knock on the door, and who is at the door but a guy, a butler type of guy, or I don't know if it was a butler, I don't know who he is, child, but he says, he tells them, welcome, we were expecting you, and he tells them, welcome home, Atticus. And I was like, uh-oh. So he knew they was coming. So I did see the preview, and it looks like it's going to be, you know, some type of, you know, Wizard World type shit. You know, they got a new life We're gonna see what's going on, honey, because not only do we have racism, we got supernatural. So we got monsters attacking us from above, and we got monsters attacking us from below, child. We got a lot of things going on, baby. So I thought this was a good episode. I'm interested to see what's happening. I don't really know what's going on at this point. Like I said, I didn't delve too far into the source material because I wanted to be fresh and new, and just coming into this from a new perspective. So I don't really know what's happening at this point. I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? But we're going to figure it out together, okay? Us, me and you. All right, so Lovecraft Country comes on Sunday nights on HBO. You guys let me know if you're interested in this review. What do you think about the show? Holla at your girl. I'll holla at y'all next week. Peace.